Boom, 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 boom. I don't know why, but the rain made it hotter. Hello friends, welcome. Before we get into it, I just want to shamelessly promo that I have a new website out called thebutterflyeffectproject.com. I'll link it down below. It's free resources where I get to share the wisdom and knowledge that I've had the grand honor of receiving here, working with sacred earth medicines and indigenous peoples. It's a free community where you can also comment, subscribe, and share your own ideas that maybe you aren't able to share on other platforms, as well as where I share things such as the opportunity to make offerings and give back to the land. So yeah, definitely check that out down below, and like and subscribe and turn on your notifications if you want to know when I'm posting, because I know it hasn't been super regular. It's also because when I'm doing the deep dietas and ceremonies, you open in a lot of different planes, so it's good to not always be on the internet and sometimes integrating, which is what we're always doing. But yeah, thank you for coming to this video. I'm gonna read the question so that you guys know where I'm going with this. Okay, so it says, any tips on overcoming fear? I chickened out 2 times with Bufo. I feel too afraid. After the military, I feel like a failure and ended up listening to negative hypnosis that tries to instill literal mental illness while riding a high 24/7. I feel like I've messed myself up more than I already felt I was a screw up already. First of all, you're not a screw up. Second of all, the beautiful thing about us beings that are affected by our environment, we can change, and it's all fluid, so don't worry. I definitely have been in a place where I felt too messed up to be fixed, even though you don't need fixing. You're perfect as you are, you're worthy as you are, and I love you. Anyways, continue on. I'm too afraid of what I might have to face. She's talking about working with plant medicines and Bufo, but this is applicable to all aspects of fear. And I feel I don't even know if I can release all of this nonsense of thoughts, feelings, and habit patterns. So, hold on, they're building out here, so there's a car going by. We're just gonna wait a minute so you can hear me. But thoughts, feelings, and habit patterns, I have in the Butterfly Effect Project down below. Under the connect section, I actually have something where I went through what I did to change my thought patterns, reprogram my subconscious, and things like that. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you can send an email application with your name and your intentions, thebutterflyeffectproject@gmail.com, but there's a free resource for that as well. So I know this stuff can help me at least move through life a little more gracefully, but I'm too afraid of the process and the potential outcomes. Any advice for a total coward? Okay, so you're definitely not a total coward. I was so scared before I went to do my Bufo experience. I told the shaman that I didn't think I was going to do it, and we did a whole week of jungle medicine retreat, like sacred medicines, with these people. It was all women in the jungle, but there was women who were had a lot more years than me, and maybe my grandma's age, for example, and they were gonna do it, and I was like, okay, if she can do it, I can do it. And I was still so scared, and even before my first ayahuasca ceremonies, I had to literally go in the bathroom and have a pep talk with myself, and I was like, you can do this, this is good for you. And and it was, and I feel like there's a misconception. I definitely feel the fear. When I know that something's not gonna physically harm me in the way such as maybe doing like a wheelie on a motorcycle, I choose to move through it, because I've recognized the pattern that a lot of my best experiences in this life have come from me walking into the fire consciously and choosing to do the thing that scares me, whether that's with plant medicine, whether that's with a job opportunity, whether that's in relationships and in love, and expressing myself fully. So if you fear something, you know, that's normal. It's totally normal, especially with working with types of medicines and things that when you've grown up in a reality and there's kind of like the normal and people are kind of doing like the same things like this, and you want to go outside of that, you're gonna experience fear, because that's what's keeping the people in that box. If we're talking about the Matrix, for example, fear is the opposite vibration of love. So when they have you in the fear vibration, they are keeping you from being the full expression of yourself, from seeing and recognizing the powerful being that you are. And that's really super powerful. So definitely always choose love. But I did write some tips and things, so we're gonna get into that here. So overcoming fear. So she mentioned the fear of failure, and I just want to say, when you're creating your dream life, the number one tip that I have is, if you're surrendering to God, divinity, source energy. I know people have different words that I like to use for that, but I'll use God. When you're surrendering to God and you're asking to be used for your mission to serve the highest purpose of all beings, things are gonna go a lot easier. I'm just saying, they're gonna go a lot easier. I've tried to fight, you know, different ways, and for me, that's it's definitely gonna go a lot easier. But the fear of failure is often based off of our own perception, because what does it mean to really be a failure? And I think that those feelings are based oftentimes around shame and guilt and judgment and fear, and those are part of the old system, the system that used God and the I don't know if I can say that word on here. Check out my website for more completely free talk. But there are these systems in place that the people are, where all the people who have a lot of wealth and a lot of power and maybe control, and they use these things, shame, guilt, these low vibrational emotions, to keep people in the systems working for them. Because if everyone realized that they were a sovereign being and powerful and taken care of by the natural laws of the universe, then they wouldn't need these people to fulfill this and have them making $2-3 trillion a year. So yeah, anyway, so just looking at where those emotions and diving deep into the shadow work of where that fear and judgment and shame is coming from, for the fear of failure, and also maybe for the fear of succeeding in what it is that you're going to do. And a practice that I really like to do is, I like to sit with the emotion and I ask myself, what inside me is blocking me from what this is that I desire? And meditate on that question. Again, I have free meditations guided linked on the Butterfly Effect Project page. So yeah, I think that's all for the failure part of fear, and just knowing that you're gonna be supported, that you have so much support around you, and you have archangels that you can call on, and really things are working out for you. Everything is rooting for you to be super happy. And I also ask myself, am I gonna judge myself for this? Because I am of God. So am I gonna judge myself for this? Because really you're the only person whose opinion matters, because it's between you and Dios, no? Like, the other people, they can judge you, but then are you judging other people? And where does that stem from? So yeah, definitely checking in with the inner child on that. The other one is what you have to face, and that is also another thing that has come up a lot in my conversations with people regarding especially ayahuasca. The people are like, if it's in my subconscious, I don't want to face it. And I get that, but at the same time, if you understand, we'll talk from a scientific perspective, that the subconscious is running most of what's going on here in this reality. So if we're affirming to ourselves, for example, I am so wealthy, but in our subconscious it's like, no you're not, you know? It's like that little, you don't believe it. That's what's going to be appearing in your reality. And what I learned from working with Dr. Bruce Lipton, volunteering under him, is the power of the subconscious mind and reprogramming it. Again, if you want to know more about that, it's in the Butterfly Effect Project. But sorry, I have my notes here, I kind of forgot a moment. Oh yes, okay. So also let's define what I mean when I say sacred earth medicines, because I feel like there's words where people don't know what I'm talking about, and when it comes to drugs and plant medicines, and what's the difference. So for myself, I define a natural earth medicine as something that comes from God, was originally here, and doesn't need to be altered in a way other than maybe with heat, like you're making a tea, because that's what ayahuasca is. Ayahuasca is a tea. It's brewed from a root and leaves. So for me, for example, there's other things where people make a substance and it's man-made. For myself personally, it's not a part of my journey right now, and I don't think it will be in this lifetime, having the knowledge that I do. But Yeah, okay, and the other thing was the gentleness, is remembering the gentleness that these plants hold. Because when I went into a super deep ceremony, and this is one where it was like the most bad ceremony that I had, but it was because she was having me relive a really traumatic experience for me, and the first time that she tried to show me, I think I was not mentally prepared for it. And so what you need to know is these medicines is medicine for your soul, so it's only going to show you what you're prepared for. It took me six ceremonies to be emotionally able to hold that and to go back there. So she's not going to give you something that you can't handle. And so it's good to know that, the gentleness that they hold, even though, you know, sometimes it's real, but it's gentle. And my friend too, like I've talked with people who've experienced some super traumatic things, myself included, that are very vulnerable, so I won't share too many details of it, but we were both talking about that and how it makes it, and this is a pattern, it makes it seem like this happened, but it's not a part of you anymore, because it's a part of the story. And when you're unlocking your consciousness in a way that you're open on different levels, and you're open to change and shift in an instant, and so many things can change in just one moment, especially when you change your vibration. So for myself, understanding that, knowing that, for myself personally, when I went through something super traumatic that I had to face, it felt like literally like a knife that I didn't know was in my back being removed, and that I could then heal from. And my neighbor, yeah, so it was a good feeling, and it freed me from having that run in my subconscious, healing the trauma, because we do have to feel it to heal it. And I think when we think about feeling it, maybe it can seem daunting a little bit, but it's actually a really beautiful thing, and it doesn't last as long as you think it's going to. When you're feeling the pain, I think that spirit and God, they all recognize that. It's like, oh, they're doing the work, you know, you're so guided and protected. The last thing that I really want to mention with this, because this question was based upon plant medicine specifically, was having a proper shaman. Because especially if you're going to do bufo, so what they explained to me, Shani, was that when you ingest the medicine and you go up, you're going straight up, okay? And the shamans go with you. They go up and they're like blocking out anything in the astrals, so that you have a direct transmission to the light and back into your body. And so if you're doing this with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, or by yourself, you're not going to have that. And I'm definitely a strong believer of someone that I believe that we were meant to be in these communities, and that part of the separation is because of these corporations who profit off of people being disempowered. So yeah, just please keep that in mind if you're going to. If you're looking for someone for bufo, I can recommend only who I've been to, but if you're going somewhere else for it, definitely make sure that whoever's recommending it to you has, one, experienced it, two, had a experience that helped them in life somehow. Like, ask them what they learned from it, ask them how it helped them in life. Did it help them? Was it a helpful experience? Because that's really important. And if you're just doing things just for the experience, maybe it's okay, but it's really good if we can get things that can move us forward, more into the light, to feel more joy, to have more things that bring us fulfillment, because we really don't know how many minutes we get on this earth plane, in this life, in this body. So yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, I want to say that's all on fear and creating your dream life, because when you're going, again, outside the box, you're going to be met with scary things. And every day I face fear, and I'm sure that you do too, but we get to choose the opposite vibration of love. Fear is this vibration, and I can feel that here, but what is love? What does that mean? And it's not really getting rid of the fear, it's not trying to get rid of the fear of the ego, it's feeling it and saying, okay, hopefully you can hear me now. I'm going to talk a little bit more into this because it's raining, I ran out of memory, but what I was saying is just make sure that you're taking care of your inner child. I was not trying to get rid of the fear or labeling it as anything bad, but cuidarte de tu niño interior. Take care of your inner child. Make sure that they feel safe and seen and heard, and that'll give you the power of moving through it, because you're taking care of this little being, you know, and that is you, essentially. And when we take care of those parts of ourselves, in my experience, everything seems to blossom in our life. So I hope this video helped and supported you in any way possible. Before I came back after a month, I made a lot of offerings, and if you want to hear more about that, let me know. Comment a purple heart down below if you like this video, if it supported you. I'd love to interact more and get to know everybody. So as we're building this community here, definitely like, subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'm gonna have more content coming for you in the near future. So stay tuned, and I love you so much. Thank you for being on this earth plane with me, and for doing the work to create a beautiful world where we're healing each other's traumas, and we're supporting each other, and we're loving each other, and we're sharing, and we're giving, and we're receiving, and it's a lot of love, and I'm super grateful to be here. Okay, ciao.